'Cause when it comes for, it's always coming through. If all green is always on the sea, it was gonna always bring to life, saving. So get ready, get ready, don't feel they come.
What's going on, everybody? Paul Heston Jr. here with the Man Show with Boy Green Digital. Thanks for joining us. As you come on in here on YouTube, like the video and hit subscribe. YouTube.com/@MC Show Digital. We're here to talk NBA on a Friday. Of course, our show is brought to you by our friends over at Northeast Roofing Professionals. And this episode is brought to you by our friends over at Box Drop Syracuse, where I got my beautiful king-size mattress in the other room. It is marvelous. But first, my co-host for today's extended activities and everything else is Jim the Man-Child Lurch. I'm being the point guard today, but you're out there in Boston, I see, by your little title there, Lurch.
Yeah, in the YouTube world, there are no vacations. When you're on vacation, you're still shooting videos, you're still doing shows. So I'm in for this. Sean Devaney, I can't miss this after the greatest comeback in the history of the NBA playoffs. There's no way I couldn't be here, at least for a little while, to greet our pal, Sean Devaney. Bring him in from Heavy.com. The one, the only. I'm in his hometown. Sean Devaney. What's up, Sean?
Hey guys, hi guys. Yeah, congratulations on being in Boston. This is the right time.
And Sean, you can see I'm in my regalia here, New York Knicks NBA shirt there. Got the Knicks hat on. I'm going to ask you this question. I asked Paul this the other day. I've already been experiencing this. Are people in Boston walking by and either giving me dirty looks or they're like, Knicks suck, or are they walking by and saying, hey man, congrats, way to go? What do you think?
I bet there's a lot more congrats. I mean, the vibe around the Knicks Celtics is nothing quite like, if you were wearing Yankees gear, that would be something completely different. But Knicks, nobody in Boston likes the Knicks, but there isn't that kind of visceral despising the way that you get with the Yankees. That's for sure.
You're 100% right. I arrived yesterday. I'm staying in the Brookline area, beautiful suburb of Boston. And I was in a local cafe last evening. When I got in, I visited a couple local spots. I popped in a bakery, and every person that knew something about sports that saw me wearing my Knick hat, right? I wasn't wearing the shirt last night, but I was wearing a hat, said, hey, go Knicks, or congrats, baby. Now I'm sitting here literally inside the city. I'm right outside the tallest building in Boston, the Prudential Center, all right? And every person that walks by that knows sports is like, go Knicks. So it's been all positive. Nobody has said a negative thing to me yet. Amazing. These Boston people are cool. I love them.
Yeah, our reputation is not quite what New
York is.
Like in Philadelphia and Boston are sometimes put in the same level. They're not. Philadelphia is a different kind of person than you get in Boston, I find.
So, Sean, let's start with this, okay? Lurch just said, it's the greatest comeback in NBA playoff history. That's true. But it's also the greatest collapse in NBA playoff history. So I'll start with the simple question, Sean. Did the Knicks win it or did the Spurs lose it?
Look, obviously the Knicks won it, and I think you have to give them credit for that. I would say that the Spurs blew it, except that we've seen this from the Knicks before. I mean, this is what they do. They stay attached. They stay engaged. I'll go back to last year, the series against Boston, right? Those first two games. Remember, in Boston, Celtics have 20-point leads in the second half of both of those games. The Knicks just kind of stay the course, keep pressing, keep doing. They didn't really change a whole lot. They just kind of kept doing it. And obviously a different coach. But I think with those players, that mindset is always the same as let's just keep doing what we're doing. We're out here playing basketball. And eventually, that the shots that they made in the first half aren't going to go down in the second half. And you stick with it. So I think you got to give Knicks credit because we've seen this from them before. If this was an aberration on their part, then I'd say that, obviously, terrible second half from De'Aaron Fox. You could point to all sorts of things that happened with the Spurs. But I do think that this is a characteristic of these Knicks, that they sort of have a stick-to-itiveness that is inherent in those players, no matter who's coaching them.
Now, listen, Sean, Knicks fans are living in euphoria, myself included. We're up 3-1. We're a game away from winning our first title in 53 years. So I hate to go to the negative. One more negative thing, and then we're going to talk about the euphoria. We're going to talk about why Knicks fans are celebrating and why the series is over. I told you it was over after 2-0. I was getting a little scared that it wasn't. Now I'm very convinced that the series is over. If the Spurs can even get up off the mat in Game 5, frankly, I'll be shocked. But there was an interesting moment in this Knicks game, in this grandiose, incredible comeback. And that was Josh Hart on a breakaway. Gets the pick, he steals the ball. He's on his own. He's being chased by Castle. He peeks back. He sees Castle's relatively close. And he just decides, I'm not going to slam dunk this thing. I'm going to, kind of just drop it in the hoop. Except it didn't drop in the hoop. It was like memories of the Ewing fingertip roll. Ewing, just dunk the ball. Remember the fingertip roll in the playoffs? I think that was against the Bulls.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, and my thought is this, Sean, and tell me if you agree. If the Knicks don't end up winning that game, if the Knicks don't end up winning that series, okay, and this is the comeback, the flipping point, the tipping point, and San Antonio now becomes NBA champions and the Knicks don't get their first championship in 53 years, my argument is that, and you'll be very familiar, this is a Boston guy. I probably shouldn't say this on the sacred ground here, the proper
Don't
city
do it,
proper
Lurch.
of Boston.
Don't do it.
All right? But Josh Hart would have been to Knicks fans what Bill Buckner has become to Red Sox fans. If that becomes the moment, and I think it had the possibility of becoming the moment that lost the Knicks the championship. Give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think that he would have gone down in lore. I don't know that, Bill Buckner was a different character for the Red Sox because he wasn't really one of our guys. I feel like
For a
Josh
long time,
Hart
right?
was
Yep.
done with a bunch of different teams.
True.
He is a Knicks guy, and he's a big part of the reason they are where they are. So it'd be hard to imagine him getting saddled with that. But at the same time, yeah, I mean that was a critical play, and if that's the one, that. It doesn't matter that wasn't necessarily the play that lost them game. It's the play that would have been remembered as the one that blew them the series. Right. Yeah, I mean, he would have certainly gone down as an all-time GOAT, lowercase GOAT, but yeah, and he was funny about it, because after the game, he said, "I want to thank OG Anunoby for basically saving me from an eternity of having that attached to my name."
He knew it.
He knew it.
He knew
it for sure. Yeah.
Now it's
I
just
love
a
that
missed
line.
shot, right? It's
Yeah.
just a missed shot now. So let's take that negative moment and let's move to the most positive moment in this year's playoffs for the Knicks, and that is OG getting in there. Sean, how did that happen? How did the Spurs fall asleep? The inbounder is always the most dangerous guy. We've said this time and time again. I know coaches preach it, and yet nobody guarded Anunoby, who made an amazing play, but nonetheless was left wide open.
Yeah, there were two bodies right there. I forget exactly who they were, and Wemby was behind him as well. You had plenty of opportunities to just, set up shop, and you have to understand that the last thing you can have in that situation is an offensive rebound. And they had the bodies there. I mean, the players were there. It was just a matter of they didn't do the one simple thing. And Mike Brown talked about luck. After and the ball bounced the right way. If it goes
you bet.
left instead of to the right, then it's a Spurs rebound.
He doesn't get it,
and it's 2-2. But yeah, no, that was one of the bigger mental lapses. I thought as a team, and that's the kind of thing I think where you do see that this is a young team that just hasn't done this before, and you just don't know that. You just can't do that. You can't do that in that situation, in that game. You just can't do that, and maybe in February, you're not going to have somebody crashing the glass the way that OG was. But here in June, that's going to happen, and you have to be ready for it.
So, Sean, do you believe, because I know Lurch wants us to be Nick, and it will be Nick, but is this just a young Spurs team that is getting their lumps, and it's the natural progression of teams that you have to learn how to crawl before you walk, before you run, and that this series, which they seem set to lose, down 3-1, we'll get an updated prediction from you later, that they're going to get these lumps, and then this is going to be a Spurs team like the Thunder are feared for the next decade. This team could be winning multiple championships, but this year is just learning lumps that they just have to take.
Yeah, I do think there's no question that that's part of this, that, they're here, I think, before anybody would have expected them to be. And because of that, they're showing that they're inexperienced. They're showing some of those weak spots. I mean, these have all been close games. I mean, these games have all been right there for them in the final 2 minutes. They've had a lead in each of the 4 games, and they just weren't able to close them out. And I think that's a sign of inexperience. Having said that, the guy you put this loss on, who is it? It's the veteran. It's the one who should have known better, and that's De'Aaron Fox. Where time after time he's making these plays and taking these bad shots, these rimmed 3-pointers that are barely, shooting 30-footers that go 29.5 feet. And obviously the mistakes at the end of the game. But I thought even before that, in the third quarter, he was doing things through just saying, "But slow it down here. You still want to chew up some clock. You want to make the right pass. You want to get it to Wemby. You want to make them foul you. Do all those things." And I felt like he was the one who lost it. So yeah, I mean, absolutely, you chalk a lot of this up to youth and experience. But I think the guy who was supposed to be the antidote to that is probably the one who was the worst offender.
So let me do a quick follow-up on that with De'Aaron Fox. So, a seminal moment in that game is De'Aaron Fox is going to the cup. He has a near breakaway. There's obviously Knicks around him, and he has 2 choices, because I believe the Spurs were up 1 at that point, is that he can either dribble it out, run as far and as fast as he can, and wait to get fouled, go to the free throw line. If he makes both, Knicks need a 3-pointer to tie if he makes both. Or, as he said, he thought he had a great look, and he goes for it, and then, hey, good block. Did De'Aaron Fox just make a mistake and he just had to get it in the hole? So like shooting it wasn't the problem. He just got blocked. Or should he have just dribbled it out and got fouled and let it play from there? Was that right call on the decision?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's 12 seconds, I think, at that point.
Yes.
And, you've got a 1-point lead. I think the right thing is to, and it's easy for me to say this in hindsight, I get it, but I just think when you think of it logically, you want to pull it back out, chew up more of that clock, force up. I mean, you've just coughed up a 29-point lead. I mean, that's part of this as well. You want to stop things, slow it down, and give your young team a chance to regroup. So you pull it back out, you chew up a little bit more clock, you get fouled, you try to win the game at the free throw line, and you're doing things, where the coach is in everybody's ear rather than people having to make seat of the pants decision. So I thought that's what he should have done. But even within that, if you're gonna try the layup, you better make it, and he did.
Oh, Sean. So it's 3-1. Let me ask you the proverbial question: is the series over?
Oh, I think it's over. I mean, I think it'll come back to New York, though. I think the Spurs are. Part of being young and stupid is that you lose a game like you did in Game 4, but it also means you go out in Game 5 and you're able to, it doesn't sit on you as much, because you don't know that you might never get there again. You don't know all the things that you're going to know when you're 30. So you just go out and you just play a basketball game again. And I think they're going to be able to do that on their home floor. And like I said, they've been right there. It's not like the Knicks are blowing them out of the water. So, I do think that they come back, win Game 5, and then the Knicks close it out in 6.
What about Victor Wembanyama? Where does he stand in all this mix? Sure, De'Aaron Fox is catching some bullets. He made a lot of from the lethargic. Again, he was in the right position, but he just wasn't active, which allowed OG to come right in and tip it in to the dribbling it out, not dribbling it out, going for the layup. Again, there's a lot of mistakes, and you could go even earlier in the game where he made a lot of mistakes.
Paul,
what about Victor Wembanyama?
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, and let me jump in before you answer that, Paul, and let me add this layer to your answer, Sean. I really thought, whether it's poor coaching or whether it's a Wembanyama decision, I'm not sure. What is Wemby doing on the perimeter, chasing, Brunson on that? You talk about not allowing the other team to get a rebound. That guy is a human rebound waiting to happen. You want him underneath the basket, not out guarding a 3. That made no sense to me at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what the thinking was, and you can understand, like, having a 7'5" guy, with a 1,000-foot wingspan, trying to interfere with any kind of 3-point shot at that point. There's some logic there, no question. And I think they thought, the the possession might last a little longer. That might not really matter about the rebound. And they probably thought the other guys were going to be in there, boxing out, which they weren't. So there's some logic there, but certainly, yeah. I mean, Wemby was not in position to get that rebound, and I did mention him being one of the guys in the frame there, but I don't think that was necessarily his fault. I think that was something that Mitch Johnson wanted him to be out there trying to interfere with the shot.
We're speaking with Sean Devaney, our NBA insider from Heavy.com, right here on the Man Show with Boyd Green Digital. Again, make sure you guys like the video and hit subscribe as we make our chase to 1,000 subscribers. YouTube.com/@MCShowDigital. We'll let Lurch continue to look at the sights and sounds of Boston. We'll take a quick TO and give a shout out to our wonderful sponsors here on the program. We will be right back after this quick message.
Finding the right local roofing company can be tricky. You don't want to hire the wrong roofers, or you could end up spending a fortune on repairs. The pros at Northeast Roofing Professionals can ensure your home is protected by a strong and sturdy roof. Locally owned and operated, over 30 years experience, free estimates, and competitively priced. Don't settle for an inexperienced roofing contractor. Turn to Northeast Roofing Professionals. Discounts for military and first responders. Reach out and let them put a sturdy roof over your head. NERPCNY.com. NERPCNY.com.
Considering that we sleep nearly 1/3 of our lives, buying the right mattress is essential. At Box Drop Syracuse Mattress and Sofa Outlet, you'll get a unique experience, one that saves you 30 to 70% off retail prices on top-of-the-line mattresses like Sapphire Sleep. At Box Drop, you'll schedule a mattress fitting appointment and get one-on-one service directly with Paul, the owner. No middleman. Family-owned, huge savings, no-pressure sales designed to save you time and money. And now Box Drop Syracuse has sectional sofas and love seats as well, with prices designed to fit your budget. Box Drop Syracuse Mattress and Sofas. Set up your appointment today at boxdropsyracuse.com.
Actually, as an updated commercial, there was a shot of Lurch sleeping peacefully at night with the Knicks up 3-1 in the NBA Finals. So hopefully you guys appreciate that shot. Welcome back here to the Man Show Boyd Green Digital. Again, we're sitting here with NBA insider Sean Devaney from Heavy.com. We got Jim the Man Shot Lurch out there in Boston, enjoying a little vacation, but he can't get away from the YouTube show. So Lurch, I don't know, sights and sounds from Boston. Anything you want to add there?
Yeah, I didn't mention this off the top. I don't think I did. I know we were talking a little bit on air before the video, but obviously I'm not seeing a lot of people around here wearing Knicks jerseys, which is a little disappointing to me, frankly. But support the East, with the Eastern Conference, with the Eastern, to the Atlantic Division. We don't even talk about divisions anymore. Hey, look at this guy driving by in a car, giving me some stuff right here, baby. Loving his face. Look, this dude's waving his Knick hat at me at a car driving by. Did you just see that? That was insane.
When you said he was giving it to you, I assumed he was flipping the bird. I didn't assume he was waving a Knicks hat, but that's neither here nor there, I suppose.
I got to give Boston a ton of credit, man. These people are really, really nice. Okay, if Boston fans were in New York and Boston was doing this, they'd be getting booed off the streets. So kudos to Boston. Stay classy, Boston. Way to go. I'm very, very happy with the Boston people. The thing I didn't mention is I'm not seeing a lot of Knicks jerseys or Celtics jerseys for that matter, because World Cup fever is going on in Boston.
Yes.
Saturday night, we've got Scotland and Haiti, Boyd Green. We were breaking it down on the show the other day. No, we really weren't. All right, out at the at the football stadium at Foxborough. But as I'm walking through the city, I just got in here this morning. I've only been in the city here about an hour. I am seeing tons of World Cup jerseys, all kinds of colors, yellows and blues and bright pinks, and you name it, any color that's out there for those international teams. So I'm seeing a ton of FIFA World Cup jerseys as I walk through the city of Boston. So this is, again, the opening weekend of the World Cup, and there are plenty of World Cup fans in this beautiful city of Boston. So really, really cool stuff. And I'm seeing plenty of that. So outside of the basketball fervor, it's World Cup fever here in Boston.
Which is something I've always wanted to ask Sean. Sean, what's your favorite color?
You really wanted to ask me that?
Of course. With him going fuchsias and reds and yellows, I'm like, you know what? What's Sean's favorite color? That's always been on the bingo card.
It's purple. I went to Northwestern, so I got a lot of purple stuff. So
there you go.
I stick with purple. My daughter likes purple too, so I indoctrinated her on that one.
Okay. That's
all right. Listen, guys. I am going to duck out and let you guys finish up the video because I got a duck boat tour here in about 20 minutes. I got to check in for my duck boat tour. I got to go find my wife who's wandering in a mall here nearby. That could take a half hour on its own. Might miss the duck boat tour. So, Sean, next time we talk, baby, We'll be talking about champagne. Boy Green, get ready, man. It's going to get sprayed all over my head on video. That
Wow.
Rob Finger champagne bottle looks like the man-child is going to be the first one to crack it if the Knicks can get the job done here. This is awesome. What a cool year. To win the fantasy league and now to be pouring that champagne on my head before you, that is beautiful karma. I love that. Thank you, guys. I'll see you.
Yeah. Thanks,
All right,
man,
Lurch,
Childs.
have fun.
Appreciate that. I don't know if awesome is the A word I would use to describe what Manchild's talking about, but nonetheless, appreciate it. Knicks fans are all in their glory here, Sean. It's been 53 years. What do you make of all this? Because, we've been talking to you all year and we've been doing these checks like who, and I've asked sort of the question, come on, Sean, we got 30 teams in the NBA. How many of them do you think legitimately have a shot at a championship? And we sort of like gauged at the beginning of the season, middle of the season, end of the season. And the Knicks here are on the precipice. By the way, teams have blown 3-1 leads. I have a book, I think it's behind me from Windy, of Cleveland being down 3-1 a decade ago against Golden State. And we know how that one went. So teams have blown 3-1 leads before. So it's the hay is not in the barn quite yet, but still, I understand where Lurch is coming from. All things are pointing in that direction. But what do you make of it?
I mean, I was at that series. I was there when,
Oh, wow.
when Draymond kicked LeBron and gets kicked out, and then everything kind of turns. And that game 7, I'll never forget that game 7 because the last 3 or 4 minutes were brutal. Like everybody was so exhausted. Nobody could make a shot. That was when LeBron had the chase down block.
Kyrie had this 3 at the end.
Yeah, and they were like, Kyrie had the big shot. There were like 6 points scored in the last 4 minutes of that game 7 because everybody was just so exhausted. But so it can happen for sure. But to your bigger question, I think it goes to what Lurch was just saying, that fans of Boston being like, oh, hey, Knicks, all right. I think it's hard to say about a New York team, but I think they're still looked at as underdogs because the Knicks have been out of the championship running for so long. They were such a miserable franchise for 25 years after Patrick Ewing left. There's just so much that's been negative with that team, and this is a likable group. Jalen Brunson is certainly the kind of superstar that you can get behind and root for. 2nd round pick, Dallas didn't want him, all that stuff. There's so many good narratives with this team, and then you put it in the context of the history, and it's easy to see why people kind of like this team, and why they're easy to root for. This would be a huge thing. If the Knicks go on to finish this thing off, which I think they will. It's something that's been a long time coming. So I think that that combination of the history and this team itself being the players that they are, I think that's really why people are buying into this group.
And Sean, if the Knicks win, I believe they'd be the 7th different champion we've sort of had in a row here, which I know you hate. So I always ask this when one of these champions are crowned, because it's the curiosity. Is this just a blip? And we see that all the time in all kinds of sports. You have your moment in the sun. You could win a championship or go to your championship game and lose, and then we never hear from you again. Or it could be the start of something, and all of a sudden maybe this is a team that's in the running for the foreseeable future. Was this just you check the Chinese calendar up? This was just the Knicks year with everything breaking the right way, and now enjoy that championship, Knicks fans, because that's all you're having for the foreseeable future? Or do you think this is a team that's legitimately in the title conversation for several more years to come?
I mean, I think they'll be in the conversation. I'd be surprised if they win another one, to be honest. Just because, for one thing, like you mentioned, it's hard. It's hard to keep guys together. It's hard when the extensions start kicking in. It's hard, with the second apron. And you're right. I hate it because I think that, when you get a team that gets to the mountain, you want to see them stay there for a little while so you can see all the other teams trying to scramble and knock them off. It becomes part of the entertainment. If you get in a situation where, a team can come in and win and then not be good again. Denver, Milwaukee, a recent change. Milwaukee was 21, and then Denver, and then of course you had the Celtics, the Warriors were in there, and all those teams have just fallen by the wayside since. So I mean, it's I don't necessarily think that's a good thing. And it's probably not a good thing for the Knicks because I think they're going to be a victim of that too, where eventually this group's going to get too expensive. I think they can keep it together for next year, but after that, you're going to have to start breaking up some pieces, and it's just going to be too hard to keep this group together.
One more thing, and then we can go overall NBA. Victor Wembanyama appears to be just one flagrant foul away from being disqualified from the next game or being suspended, however you want to phrase it. Do you like the rule, how it's set up? Because, I don't think this was the same situation when Draymond Green gave the Karate Kid crane kick to someone's nether regions when he got tossed in that series we were just talking about between the Cavs and Warriors. But on one hand, I'm not a Knicks fan, but if that's how you win, because Wembanyama, if the Spurs are operating without Wembanyama for a game, I don't know what their obviously we saw what their chances are with him. So you just remove him from the game. I don't suddenly see how that rises. Do you like how the NBA rule is set up with these, sort of accumulating flagrant fouls throughout the playoffs, and where it could lead ultimately to a suspension here?
I do, and there was a problem, 20 years ago, when things were getting too physical, and the playoffs was sort of getting ruined by fights and things like that, and it was something that David Stern at that time was very, very concerned about, and they came up with this system, and for the most part, it's worked. I mean, it's a pretty big deterrent. You do not want to. It's one thing to get 16 fouls during the 16 techs during the regular season, and get suspended, for a March game against Charlotte. But it's something different when you get to this time of year. So yeah, you've got to really reel yourself in. Wemby has been frustrated, no question. Wemby has been frustrated. This is going to be part of his growth, overall, going through this entire playoffs and figuring out how to keep your cool and when to lose your cool too. It's not something you want to bottle up all the time. But that's going to be part of the story for him is, okay, how do I deal with the frustration? They're going to play me different. They're going to call me different. What do I do? And he's going to have to figure that out. So yeah, I'm okay with it. And obviously it'd be terrible if he gets suspended, but that's part of the learning process for him.
It's crazy that's the opposite side, because there was I can't remember if it was this last game or the previous game because they're all blending together, but there was a moment where Victor clearly knew he was getting in the Knicks' heads because he was baiting, and then Mitchell Robinson, as they were transitioning from one side of the court to the other, he throw chops him on the other side, and Victor comes down to the ground and immediately is clapping like, "I'm in your head, I gotcha." But yet he is the one in the series that people have been getting inside his head, not the other way around. That's been interesting.
Yeah, and I thought that was interesting. I thought that his reaction to that was interesting, and it's something where that was a big learning moment for me, for Victor. From what I saw, that was a big learning moment from him. If you're going to talk that kind of trash in the first half, you better have something for them in the second half. And so he was really feeling it in that first half, and that's fine. But I think you want to keep your lip zipped until it's fourth quarter. You've got this game won, because that's not something he's going to soon forget, is that he did all that talking, and then they lose the game. So I thought that was a moment for him as well, and also just I thought he handled it well, because Robinson clearly just went and said, "I'm going to hit this guy," and did, and he didn't come back, and he didn't come right back at him, because that's when you get the double technical, and you don't want that situation. So I think he handled that part of it well. It's kind of what happened after that didn't go so well.
And Sean, last thing here is this: is there anything non-Knicks or Spurs related in the NBA world that we should be giving mention to, or anything amid these finals as they're coming to its conclusion?
There's a couple of things going on. There's a draft in about 12 days, 11 days. That's going to be pretty big, an important draft for a lot of franchises. So we'll see how that plays out. There's also a fella named Antetokounmpo who's apparently going to get traded. At some point, I think within the next 2 weeks, he gets traded, whether it's Miami, whether it's possibly the Celtics. That's sitting out there as well. So there's some pretty big items to be dealt with on the business side there for the NBA here, no question.
And last thing is this. Do you like how tight the schedule is? Because if this series was to go to its full flower of 7, who knows if it actually will, and then you consider the draft, then you consider free agency, like these, and then summer league eventually, like all this is like right here. This is all super, it's built in a way that it could be, again, it's going to be tight-ish, to your point, 12 days away from the draft, but it could be tighter if it goes to 7. Like, do you like how the NBA has structured its offseason schedule and end of season schedule from that perspective?
Yeah, it's I mean, it's always been that way. And this year the draft sort of falls because of the way the weeks are. It falls a little earlier than usual. So it is a little more condensed than it normally would be. But yeah, I like it. I mean, the notion that these teams need a month to figure out what they're going to do. I watch baseball free agency sometimes. I'm like, what is like, can't you guys just get in a room and figure this out? Like, it takes 6 months to sign a guy. And it's like, but NBA, I do like it. It doesn't take that long to figure out a trade. It's sports, it's get a hold of yourself. It's not, you don't need, to engage, Swiss algorithms and all this stuff. Just to make a trade or don't make a trade. And so, so you get the draft right away, and then you're going to get right into free agency on June 30th. And really most of the free agency takes place right in that first week, usually the first 5 days. By July 5th, we'll know kind of who's settled and where, and then we'll see how the trade market plays out as well. But it's going to be the next month of the NBA is going to be pretty crazy. There's going to be a lot going on.
All right. Gut check. Giannis is a member of whom in a month?
I can see the Heat for sure, but I want to say the Celtics. I think they're not going to trade Jaylen Brown unless they're getting Giannis. That's the only way that's going to happen.
Right.
And I think that if Milwaukee can find the right third team, whether it's Portland or somebody like that, because Milwaukee doesn't want Jaylen Brown, they can find the right third team. I think that that's the way they're going to generate enough of an asset package coming back that they'll actually go ahead and pull the trigger on a deal. When I look at what Miami has, it's just not enough. I mean, if I'm making a trade, I was talking to a GM the other day, and he said, if you're a GM and you have to go back to your fan base and said, hey, we got Tyler Hero, like, good luck to you. That would be devastating. And so that's like that's sort of where it sits with Miami right now. And the Bucks don't want any part of that. So, but that's really the only firm offer they've got. That's really the only firm thing on the table right now. So it could be that they wind up having to pull the trigger on that. But if you had to make me I'm going to say the Celtics, just because I think they're in good position to make that happen.
All right. Well, Sean, if you run into Lurch as he's prancing around Massachusetts, be the one person apparently to say, boo! Screw you, get the hell out of our town or something, because not enough Bostonians apparently are sending that message. So if you can send that message, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. Will do.
All right. Thank you, Sean Devaney. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Take care.